A very happy Valentine's to you if you're tuning in right now from wherever you are in the world. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. A time zone friendly welcome to the Intel Extreme Masters Cologne, the final stop of our Season 8 team of events, the last chance to qualify for Katowice from all of the tournaments. We do, of course, have the open bracket in Katowice. Kalaris is back with me. You were super impressed by that last match.
Yeah. Oh,
you came back going, whoa, these PvPs, whoa, so awesome.
They're a real treat to watch. And ever since, well, me and Todd have just cast like every PvP for the past 2 weeks or something since Sao Paulo. It's a really real treat to watch because there's so many intricacies that are going on. I mean, we pointed out that last map during the cast. HyuN elaborated on it a little bit more here to really show you the very fine points of just a simple pylon placement can make all the difference in that matchup.
I'm still not playing Protoss, sorry.
Still, it's good.
No, I'm not doing it. I'm not going there. I'm not going to the dark side. So moving on, let's have a look at the bracket in case you are just joining us right now and you haven't seen what's been going on. We're just going to spoil it for you if you haven't watched the VODs. Rain and Hero going through the top bracket to meet each other. Rain then come out with a 2-0 win over Liquid Hero to advance to the quarterfinals. Leaves us one more spot, of which Hero will have a chance to play against either HyuN or ForGG, which is our next match. These two very different styles, very different kind of Koreans, but both international playboys. They've both been traveling the world and going through Europe and America, and they seem like they've been on the road for 18 months between them. So they have a very worldly kind of attitude towards their play styles, maybe not so much the Korean, but that's actually going to suit both of them in this matchup.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, it would be interesting to see what actually ForGG brings to the table with him trying to go for mech pretty aggressively in that first TVP. So maybe if we see mech from him, that'd be quite cool. Because normally you more associate ForGG, especially from WCS Europe last year, with more of that bio style, like Widow Mines, and we all saw how that worked out at the start of the year, which didn't go all too well for him. But in the end, I'm curious to see what he's going to bring, because
the only problem is that if he decides to go mech, HyuN's going swarm hosts.
So it could take a while, or
we could be here a long time. Did you bring a sleeping bag and a bunk bed?
I'm actually quite interested if something like that did happen. If HyuN was to actually go for swarm host, like I don't see him really go too much swarm host. Like when it comes to HyuN, it's mid-game aggression, like big power plays, like going for those counterattacks, going for those just straight up big engagements in general. So, it'd be interesting.
You and I spoke a little bit before the GSL matches this morning, and you said Sulky, yeah, you can't wait to watch Sulky, and I said, yeah, another swarm host lover again because he seems to have adopted them as well. And you were like, no, I'm not having that. And then suddenly, guess what? 2 games of swarm host. So it just shows you that people are changing the meta as they go along, and they're adapting and what have you. And we've seen a lot of swarm host play in Europe. You're right, we haven't seen much from the Koreans, but it's just starting to creep in, isn't it?
Yeah, we've spoke at length about this, like myself, Apollo, and all the other guys in the back and stuff. And it's weird how the Koreans are, especially in GSL and Code S, are using Swarm Host right now, because there's this really aggressive stance that they use them with, and then they just kind of get run over. They don't really like this European style of sitting back and just chilling out for a while and building the ultimate defense. Yeah,
you're right. It's funny because what we've seen in Europe is like they go swarm host. Ooh, need to keep away from them. Korea, I saw it yesterday. I think it was a parting game I was watching where he just went swarm hosts. What are these? And just stomped all over them. So yeah, there is a much very different style about it. These two, as they go head to head, I'm going to ask for your prediction because I think this is quite close. Aligulac has this as a 53-47 game. Yeah, very close, in favour of HyuN 2-1. So I think that's about right.
In favour of HyuN 2-1? I'll go the other way around. I really like both of them, and it's such a shame to lose one of them at this stage, but the round of 16 is so stacked in general. But I would love to see a ForGG Hero rematch again, because in the same mind of Sean, I think that ForGG could do really well if he's just keeping a little bit on his toes. In that game.
Yeah, I think he would love the chance for revenge because he was very disappointed at the end of map 2 last time round. So we'll wait and see what happens with that. Thank you very much, James, for now. James will be back to do some analysis at the end of the game, of course. It's now time for our lower bracket first game. The man who wins this stays in the tournament. The one that loses goes home. There's only one thing that's absolutely sure about Group A, and that's that we definitely lose two Koreans. Which are the 2 that we lose? We're about to find out our first one. It's time to go over to your commentary team. Enjoy.
Thank you very much, Red Eye and Kalaris, and welcome to the casting desk. and we are about to jump into this next game. I'm very excited for this, but how excited are you?
I am super excited personally. This is the first TVZ of the tournament, I believe.
Yes.
And also it's HyuN and ForGG, and those are great players. Especially ForGG. I actually played against him not so long ago at Assembly. I feel like he really stepped up his game recently. He's like just been really dominant, especially in TVZ, dropping everywhere, having very solid builds, very solid plays, even taking out Jaedong in Finland. So I'm really expecting a lot from him in this matchup.
But unfortunately, he has not had the best start to his tournament here. Playing earlier on against Liquid Hero, lost very fast 0-2, and has been a bit down in the slumps. Walking around the studio, was just kind of like, I can't believe this is how my tournament actually started. But this is where he can turn it around in this next game against HyuN, who also had a bit of a brutal start to his tournament too.
Yeah, definitely probably not what they were expecting, but they were up against Protoss, so I'm sure in the back of their head they were like, yeah, this is going to be tough. But now they're playing each other, and I think it really is a very even matchup.
Yes,
I think historically, HyuN is probably the better player. But like I said, ForGG, he played some really, really impressive TVZ against Snoot, myself, and Jaedong. And I really feel like he's in tip-top shape.
Okay, well, let's find out how this veto is going to work out here. It is still a best of 3, a 7-map pool, so both players have 2 vetoes each. And we'll be going through that soon. As you can see on screen is what we see too, and we'll be getting into what maps are going to be vetoed out here. Is there any specific styles of maps that you expect ForGG to clear out?
I would expect ForGG to probably veto Alterzim right now. Before it was probably Daedalus, but since the ramp cut changed, I feel like it's a better map for Terran. It's actually not that bad.
Well, we can see ForGG did get rid of Daedalus first, and then HyuN went over to Yeonsu.
That's a good veto, I believe. That's a very tough map for Zerg, Yeonsu.
And looks like ForGG gets to choose next, and he will get rid of, as you said, Altazim's strongholds. And then HyuN has his final veto.
Might be Heavy Rain or Habitation, I think.
All right, well, which map is it going to be? It's slowly finding out.
He's having a hard time deciding. Perhaps Heavy Rain.
So that leaves us with Frost, Habitation. Can we choose from here? So in these 3 maps that we have left over, what do you think about these 3 maps for these to play on?
I think these are pretty neutral maps. Neither map is really imbalanced for either race. I do know that on ForGG definitely has tendencies to play certain styles on certain maps, and I think on Habitation and Polar Knight we're going to see him go standard Reaper into 3cc bio, and on Frost he's going to use a lot of Hellions with Banshees into mech. At least that's what he was doing consistently in Finland, and it worked out really well for him there. So I'm not sure if HyuN actually studied those games, but ForGG is the type of player that if you study him, you're going to have huge benefits. So I'm hoping for him that he did.
I think it was DreamHack Bucharest, or could have been DreamHack Summer. They did actually meet against each other, and ForGG did win 2-1. No, sorry, HyuN. No, ForGG definitely, yeah. ForGG won 2-1. And HyuN has always had, throughout his career against Terrans, a very... for him, a very aggressive style, and to kind of summarize it very quickly for you, is a lot of banelings, and even adding in roaches into that mix as well, sometimes staying away from the Mutalisk composition.
Yeah, he was definitely one of the few Zerg players for a very long time who stuck with the roachling baneling ground composition, whereas everybody else was kind of going Mutaling baneling every single game. And honestly, I haven't seen HyuN play ZVT too much, so it's kind of interesting to see if he has changed his style. What he thinks right now is the best in the current metagame. If he's still favoring that mass ground composition, or if he is going to play Mutaling Bane, or maybe even possibly some early game cheeses, because ForGG definitely likes the 3cc a lot.
Yes, he does. And he lost a lot of games in 2013. 2 aggressive plays that came out from the Zerg players to punish the 3 command centers. That was kind of one of the ways that he lost a lot of games. And the other one is that he chose, let's say, 2 base timings, which if they didn't work were scouted, then he just fell behind in the game. He used that a lot against TLO and a lot of various other Zerg players last year, and we didn't really see him get into full swing and full motion of his gameplay, like you've said, that he played so well at the Asus ROG tournament just a couple weeks back.
Yeah, ForGG has always been one of those players where he was always really strong with his opening and executed very well. But as soon as you got a moment where you could attack him back, he would very often have like a mental breakdown and just all in you and attack you. And if it didn't work, he would lose. And right now, I feel like he's kind of transitioned into becoming a way more complete player. You know, but playing more safe. You know, not being afraid of going into very long games and very multitask-heavy games. And yeah, first map is Frost. So
yeah, first map is Frost, a 4-player map here. Is it time for the 4G Geddon, Rhett? Or is HyuN going to hold on to his tournament life in Group A? One player will be eliminated within the next hour. It's sad to say, but unfortunately that's the case here at the Industry Masters Cologne Group A, Day 2. Is down here in the bottom left-hand side, representing and playing for Team Millennium for the last couple of years, actually. It is ForGG. And as you said, he is becoming a complete package of a player in the last couple of months, where he's been working very hard and improving his game. And then down here to the bottom right-hand side, with his new sponsor, personal sponsorship by Roccat, it's, of course, HyuN.
And the first thing we can say that we see about these positions is that definitely this is good for the Terran. Because where's HyuN going to take his 4th base? His options are either the traditional 4th base, which is very close to ForGG's base, or he has to go all the way north, and then in the middle it's going to be really hard for him to have creep spread there everywhere. So ForGG is going to be able to send units towards his 4th base location rather easily if this becomes a standard macro game. So I think these positions, definitely ForGG can be very happy with them.
All right, well, as we can see, the opening here for ForGG is a little bit against what we see so often and so commonly is the Reaper Expand. It's actually just going to be a command center down on the low ground right from the get-go here for ForGG. Its strengths, obviously, it's very economy-focused here. His command center's on the low ground. If there was any early spawning pool, he could have been in early danger, but he's willing to take that risk to start off his best of 3 here. But we do have a pause from the admin, as you can see in game. But going back to a point you brought up with the map selection, you said that with Frost, we could potentially seeing mech come out from ForGG. And why is that you think?
Well, at Assembly 2 weeks ago, he was playing almost exclusively CC first into HyuN Banshee mech on this map, and he actually waited for a lot of Hellions before he moved out. Like normally Terrans would go like 6, like poke a little bit, possibly lose like 1 or 2 to Zerglings, but he'd actually wait until he had like 10 and then go. So as a Zerg player, if you don't have roaches against that kind of opening, you can lose a lot of Zerglings, and you need to micro super well and pay a lot of attention if you do not want to get behind. And I feel like ForGG is definitely one of the Terran players with the better Hellion control, and I'm really scared for HyuN. If he did not see those games in Finland, he might actually get surprised.
Well, ForGG is just saying you are not going early spawning pool, because he actually decided to take a gas as well before the barracks had even begun here. So he's going to have a faster factory than you would do usually with the command center first like this, and that does lead us to believe that he is aiming towards those Hellions once again. We'll have to follow his build from this point on, but we do have the hatchery, spawning pool, and then gas, which has been added on here for HyuN. And with the first Overlord, which is coming to the left-hand side here, he's going to be able to poke in. What are the first things that he's going to be looking for, and then, of course, thinking once he finds out what we've seen in ForGG space?
Yeah, HyuN here with the gas opening and going to scout his CC first, he has a lot of options. We're going to have to see if he's going to pull off the geyser. He leaves 1 in. So with that 1 gas mining, he's still going to get some gas. And actually, when he scouts what's going on, he has a lot of options to possibly go for an all-in, especially with these positions being relatively close, considering how big the map is. And it looks like he actually made 4 links, so maybe he was expecting a Reaper.
Yeah.
But from here on out, it looks like there's a second gas already for ForGG. So this definitely looks like it's going to be HyuN Banshee to me.
Okay, and that second gas has not been spotted yet by HyuN, but he did see the earlier factory. And from this position, he is only droning. He's getting his 3rd queen up and running. And from that position, I suppose he would eventually be looking towards the 3rd. But ForGG definitely opening up this one with a bit of aggression. HyuN Banshee.
Yeah.
As...
There's the starport.
Yeah, there's the starport, and this will be switched over very, very shortly here. HyuN has not poked in to see that second gas, though. He knows that the factory is faster, but he doesn't know about the second gas.
He should definitely poke in any time now. I mean, 5:30, that's probably already past the time he wants to check. If he does see it, he's going to know what's up pretty fast. But if he doesn't, then...
well, there's now a Marine out that's going to push that Overlord back from even getting in the first place, so he's not really going to know.
And he took a very early second gas, even before 6 minutes. And he's got 3 on his main geyser again. So either he's going for some kind of attack here, or maybe he wants a really fast lair. Ah, there's the Roach Warren.
Seen an attack potentially? Or...
Also getting the Overlord speed here. So
okay.
Maybe just defensive Roaches, which
Yeah.
I kind of like that move for him. Because, like I said, ForGG likes to wait for a lot of Hellions, so Roaches is definitely a good move for HyuN here.
Well, ForGG ideally with this composition that he set up, with not being able to grab down an early third command center through dedicating resource to the factory and starport, will be looking to get damage done. So far, HyuN is set up okay. The one thing that is a little bit alarming is the cloak on the way, because he hasn't really at this moment, as you can see on screen, got anything to deal with that. But the Hellions, as the Roach Warren's about to complete, shouldn't be able to get too much damage done here, but it is all about these Banshees. The 7 Roaches. That's a lot of Roaches. 8 Roaches.
8 Roaches. The Overlord speed is also finished, so he is going to actually see that it's going to be Cloaked Banshee, so he'll be able to get spores.
9 Roaches feels a lot more than just...
This is a Baneling Nest as
yeah,
well.
there's a lot more than just defensive Roaches here. That's 9 and a Baneling Nest coming in. Spore Crawlers have been added, but how does a build like this aggressively work against Banshees? Banshees are going to beat Roaches and Banelings.
Yeah, the Banshees can definitely target the Banelings, and then usually you don't get much done, so...
Oh, he stuck Lings around. The Banshee didn't see it there. These Lings have come down to the south side, and Hellions at the front.
So he's getting a lot of spores, and he's still making more Lings. And ForGG actually makes a command center down at his third base. That's really, really crazy.
Well, here's the Banshee. It's got a drone, but it's all on HyuN right now because he's got the Roaches coming across the map, and I'm not even sure ForGG's actually really identified what's going in. He's got quite a few Hellions, 9 Hellions there back. He hasn't seen the Roach Warren or the Baneling Nest yet. Banshee is starting to come back. I'm sure he must be starting to realize now. He's got Widowmines coming in. There's the first defensive Banshee.
Yeah, this does not look good for HyuN. There's another Banshee at the natural, and there's a bunker, and lots of Hellions still alive. And HyuN is actually going back to drones, so I think he realizes this is not really going to work.
Well, how much damage does it get done? 2 Widowmines do borrow there behind the wall. And the bunker's going to get destroyed. The Widowmines go off, but not onto the Banelings here, which does allow them to get into the SCV line. Well, that one Baneling, if you target it down with the Hellions... okay, he does get it and doesn't take too much damage there. And this is going to get cleaned up. Only 4 SCVs have been killed so far, but the 3rd command center was cancelled. And what I mean, now it's over. 4 kills. 6 kills. There has been 4 from ForGG. What is your analysis of this breakdown here from this point?
I think this definitely went better for ForGG, but losing the 3rd CC, something that does not normally happen. You normally just make it in your main so you don't lose it. And HyuN also made 15 drones right after that attack, so he's actually ahead in the work account. So even though that didn't quite work out for HyuN, I still feel like he still has a chance in this game. There are 3 Banshees though, which if they are microed well, they could do a lot of damage.
All right, well, here they come, or there they go. Here they come, and here they're to stay. All right, so they're going to poke into this 3rd. They activate Cloak. There is a Spore Crawler. He loses 1 Banshee immediately, and tries to go for that Queen. Just one hit away.
2 Banshees definitely a lot less potent than 3, so losing that so fast is kind of a huge mistake.
Well, he actually finds a Queen out in the open there, and has found an area where there's no detection either. So, only comes to Hellions as well from the left-hand side here. 2 Queens do go down. 5 Roaches on the way in the production. There's only 3 out right now. And ForGG spots an opportunity here. He's going to get into the mineral line on the natural. And, well, roasty, roasty, toasty, toasty. Some drones are going to get fried here. And 3 or 4 go down immediately. The Banshee's in there as well. And now HyuN, who was in an okay position, has started to fall behind here. And ForGG, I think we can safely say, has gained himself a lead with this move.
Yeah, he just lost a lot of drones and then made a lot of units to deal with this. So this does not catapult him well into a macro game. And I feel like ForGG definitely took a huge lead once again. He's up 14 workers right now.
Yeah.
His 3rd CC is turning into an orbital. And these Banshees are still alive. And what does HyuN really have to deal with these Banshees?
Yeah, he's got a Spore Crawler that you'd ideally want to move at this point.
No Queens left.
The Spore Crawler's coming down from the main and from the natural. He's going to move into position. If this hatchery goes down, Red, this hatchery goes down.
And there he goes to the other side.
He's just swinging around the Spore Crawlers. Three Spore Crawlers dancing, but while he's dancing around the hatchery, as the Spore Crawlers are getting repositioned, he's picked off another 10 odd drones or more.
28 workers killed. That is huge, actually. And this is looking really, really sour for HyuN. And ForGG is going into mech.
He is going into mech. There's a Spire about to complete, and there's not really that even much gas that's been kind of banked up over the last couple of minutes. He's only got 400, and that's not a lot of Mulists. There's Vikings on the way. There's the Armory down, obviously, with the upgrades coming in. He has access towards those. He's clearing up his third to be taken. So ForGG is on the highway to victory in this game number 1 so far, and it's... I mean, what does HyuN need to stabilize here?
He needs a miracle because, you know, normally against mech you have a bit more time than you do against bio. Like there's a large period where you might be able to get off a lot of drones, but for Banshee's constant harass as well as the close positions and killing more drones, taking out his distractor, this is just devastating for HyuN.
Well, only 3 Mutilus coming in. That's such a low number, but eventually we'll deal with these Banshees. They still have a couple of moments left to do damage. Lynx and Roach is trying to slow down this third base, but Hellbats and Hellions are going to be enough to clean these up quite easily, and the Banshees rain terror still around the bases of HyuN, who has now got the Mutilus out. 1 Banshee ran out of energy, so is now visible to the Mutalisk eye.
Finally, this Banshee will get taken out. Only 1 is left, and HyuN will finally deal with this, but what is he going to do after this?
Yeah.
He doesn't have a lot of options. There's already Thors being made, and there's already 3, 4, 5 factories pumping units non-stop.
Yeah, turrets and Vikings.
The next push from ForGG is just going to be absolutely devastating for...
And he knows this push is coming, so at this moment he's trying to squeeze out as many drones as he can, while he can, but after this he has to get an army ready. He's got the Infestation coming in, the Infestation Pit. Is this a desperation move to Swarm Host maybe to hold off against this push? What do you think he's looking to do with that Infestation Pit? Because he needs to do something fast and soon.
Yeah.
Oh, Widow Mines!
Yeah, I think he probably wants to go into Swarm Host, but I think Paul is going to be happy that this is probably going to be a quick game and not a very long one.
He's pumping out a lot of drones. He's actually going to have a sick economy in the next couple of seconds, but for the last couple of minutes, he just hasn't had any units. There's a supply block, quite a nasty one here for HyuN. He can't actually start any major units. 8 Overlords in a row are made, and he's actually starting to build Spine Crawls. I'm not sure where they are, actually, I just misclicked. They're in the middle of the map expecting this push to come shortly. Is this going to be enough to help him hold on? There's the Enduring Locust trying to get to Swarm Host in time, but ForGG is like a slingshot, and he's pulling it back and back and back and back and back for the next couple of seconds, then he's just going to let go. And this army, as you can see, is not going to be touched very easily.
Yeah, and here he goes. 5 Thors, 17 Hellbats, a Banshee, and a huge economy behind this. And he's going to be walking right into HyuN's base. He's already stepping on the creep. And HyuN is going to have a really hard time to hold this.
Yeah, this is difficult. The 3 Spine Crawls not quite enough here to stop this army. And ForGG comes rolling in. And unfortunately for HyuN, this looks like another loss to his record at this tournament. There are Swarm Hosts, but Terran, they have command centers, they have orbital commands, and they have access to scans and detection. And these Swarm Hosts have to run for their lives. And a great start here for ForGG in the losers game here. And will find himself in the lead 1-0. HyuN is doing everything he can to hold on. 14 additional roaches. He is making use of that good economy that he rebuilt for himself. But this push is not going to be stopped. And 2-2 upgrade, not even that far away from completing 4th base on the way as well. This is a good start for ForGG.
ForGG just kind of keeps doing what he was doing in Finland against Zergs on this map. Macking and then doing a ton of damage with his Banshees straight into a timing push. And I don't think there was even a Zerg who made it past that stage, except for maybe Jadon. I know that me and Snoot both died very similarly. And HyuN a little bit unlucky with the build he chose, going for a heavy attack into Banshees. That's not usually something you want to do.
You could almost say it came down to the lack of scout on that second gas that was there quite early on, which he wasn't too far away from spotting.
Yeah.
But GG is called, and ForGG does get his first win here at the Intel Extreme Masters after losing 0-2 to Hero a little bit earlier on.
Yeah, I feel like if HyuN had actually just kept those 9 roaches to defend the Hellions and then get Spore Crawlers, he would have been able to get into a nice 3-base economy without possibly taking too much damage. But yeah, I'm curious why he went for that attack. It's not normally something you want to do. Maybe he was just expecting ForGG to 3CC like he often does. And this makes me feel like he actually did not watch the games from Finland, because even I knew before the game
that was going to happen.
It was going to be the strategy. So HyuN could have known it was going to be the strategy if he had done the research, but doesn't seem to be the case.
Well, the second place finisher Not second place finisher, sorry, the semi-finalist from the Intel Masters New York, HyuN, is taking off his jacket. Time to cut the crap out of his game, and he's going to give it to ForGG into this next one, hopefully. As so far, HyuN has also struggled to get just a win at a tournament here. He lost earlier to Reign 0-2, and he's lost this first one against ForGG. Violet, who couldn't quite make it past the open bracket, having a couple of words of advice. Even Lee not coming in there. And what kind of words do you think maybe being exchanged over there? And what does this do for HyuN? I mean, you've been in this scenario both sides, really, haven't you? Whether you've been a player or the guy helping a teammate.
He's just stroking his arm, so I feel like he's just trying to make him feel better, and just be like, try your best, HyuN, no matter what. We still like you. And,
we'll still have dinner with you later.
You kicked us out of the tournament. It's no problem if you're just gonna throw it all away just like that.
It goes 0-4 in the group stage. No problem. We'll still hang out with you later.
But the next map, I feel like we're gonna have a really interesting clash because ForGG likes the bio on this map.
Yeah.
And his bio play has been really sick with the drops he does. He'll just have like 2 medevacs on the top side of the map, then 2 on the bottom. See where the mutas are, boost away, drop. Mutas can't come in, then drop elsewhere. And that's what he's been doing every time he's been playing bio. So that's what he's been doing on this map.
I think ForGG needs one of those little small vacuum cleaners.
Maybe
for his Millennium jumper.
A lot of white spots.
There's a lot of spots, and it's little fluff ball things. Have you ever had that? But you need like a little vacuum thing that you can use on your jumper.
Where does that come from, actually?
I think it's something to do with the washing machine. It might be a wrong setting.
Yeah, maybe Violet and Lenok were giving him advice on how to do his laundry.
Yeah, your t-shirt looks pretty good compared to ForGG's, bro. Keep it up. All right, next map then. So Habitation Station. Both players are now ready to go into combat here. And in the group stage, the top 16 in group stage, we will have our first player eliminated after this best of 3. Prize money increases, WCS points increase, and if we all remember back to the end of last year, what happened when it came to the 16th and 17th spot between Revival and Naniwa, I think it was 50 points that the Revival scraped at the last minute to equalize and tie up with Naniwa. Every point's going to matter for these players that are obviously, every single StarCraft 2 player is setting up for the goal of WCS this year to be able to hopefully make it to top 16 BlizzCon at the end.
Yeah, I think it's something not everybody realized last year when WCS started, how the point system was exactly going to work. But now we know that every single tournament will matter in the end, and the differences are going to be extremely small. And I'm pretty sure every player really, really wants even 100 more points could make all the difference. So this is obviously really, really important to them.
And advancing to top 8 is 125 extra points. You get 125 for making it into the round of 16, but it does double up to 250. So every point matters. And HyuN, who didn't have the best WCS year last, played okay here and there, but didn't really make a massive impact, was mainly focusing on international tournaments to grab most of his points. And ForGG had a couple of decent runs, actually. I think Season 1 was his best season, where he was able to go to Season 1 finals in Korea and wrap up a lot of points, but was a little bit short of the mark come Season 2, Season 3, and especially with the Europe Premier League starting in just a couple of days' time. Starts on Tuesday, I think it is. So, ForGG will be playing in the Premier League and looking to get some extra points this year. But now the focus is on the Intel Extreme Masters, and not just this tournament alone, but the actual goal at the end of it is top 2 go to the Intel Extreme Masters 100,000 winner takes all. So there's a lot on the line at this tournament. It's the most stacked tournament the Intel Extreme Masters has, I think I'm safe to say, has ever seen. And in the round of 16 already, we are seeing some excellent games, and it's time to continue on with this series. Rhett, please do this for me.
All right, I will do this one. In the top left, we now see his face, but he is the Red Terran ForGG.
That's him.
And spawning in the top right, the blue Spider-Man Zerg, HyuN.
Spider HyuN. That has got to be one of the better celebrations of, or ceremonies, as Koreans call it, of 2013.
Have you seen the Korean introduction where he's pretending to be a drunk
Pretending to be
man.
drunk. Yeah, I've seen that. That was
one-
2008 or something. That was a long time
That one's
ago.
amazing, and I think after pro gaming, HyuN definitely has a career in acting ahead of him because that was really good.
That was awesome. And if you haven't seen that, that was back in the Brood War days when HyuN was a member of MBC team, if I remember correctly. And he was a good player back then, and he still is today.
Especially like the part where he wakes up and he's like, Flash, Jaedong, and Bisu, you guys are still here. Like nothing's changed. All you do is win these tournaments, and I can't win, and nobody else wins. And how different StarCraft 2 is.
It's funny, isn't it? Because we get to see ForGG and Jaedong playing StarCraft 2 as well, like they did back in Brood War. They used to be on the same team a long, long time ago.
Yeah.
2006, 2009, LaCaf. Back in the day, they used to be on the same team. Not too many people knew that.
Yeah, a lot of these Brood War guys actually have huge histories between them, and it goes back like they were doing dishes together back in 2005 when they were joining pro teams and they were still newbies.
Yeah.
And other people were on top and they were nothing. That's how it used to go in the Korean team houses.
And when I was in Korea, actually, before we look at these two builds for the Season 1 finals, I really didn't understand how famous ForGG is in Korea. When he beat Hero and then SOS in the group stage of Season 1, the crowd were chanting his name. They were loving it. They were making it was like he was a Jaedong or a Flash there. And he really is popular, especially because he moved away from Korea and then came back to play and was showing good games.
He did win an MSL back then, so that's a huge deal. That was on Korean television. So I'm sure a lot of people saw that. He actually 3-0'd Jaedong, which at the time Jaedong was by far the #1 player.
3-0'd him. All right, so these two builds, ForGG changing from game number 1 to game number 2. He's actually gone for the Reaper expansion here. And HyuN has gone for exactly the same build. He's gone Hatchery, Spawn and Pool, and then just a couple of seconds later, he's added on the gas to be able to go up towards that Zergling speed, and has got the 4 initial Zerglings, has notified himself that this is going to be this Reaper expansion.
We'll have to see just how crazy ForGG is going to get with this Reaper. ForGG is definitely one of the crazier Reaper guys. He'll just send them all the way around, try to kill drones, be really greedy and be like, no, I want to kill your drones. And then sometimes he loses them, and sometimes he gets more drones because of his crazy aggressiveness. But I think this game from ForGG, we're just going to see probably a 3cc style into fast double medevac. And HyuN actually, something I didn't mention in the last game, but he's actually stylistically always goes for a few roaches and then overlord speed. So maybe he was trying to make ForGG think he was doing that and playing a macro game and like trying to trick him like, yes, I'm not all-inning, I'm getting my overlord speed, so you're not going to defend. But this game, I think HyuN probably going to go for the overlord speed with the roaches again and then play a macro game from there.
This isn't the best map for Reapers to do well on, if you think about it. You got the 2 queens that can block the ramp, you can have your Zergling stop on the right-hand side here, and what super information are these Reapers going to give you earlier on, because they can't get to the main base. And they're not really able to see what's going on if there's a Bailey Nest or a Roach Warren down. So I'm sure ForGG will have that at his back of his mind. You know, I hope he isn't doing anything along those lines and must be mentally and physically prepared for that.
And HyuN this time actually sticks 3 drones in the gas still. He's already up to 100 gas. So I have to see what he wants to do from here. He could go for a Roach Warren, or he could actually go for a fast lair, but there's the 3rd hatchery, so I think he's going to want to go for roaches, and there's the Roach Warren.
Well, he does see the lack of second gas here. He knows it's not going to be Banshees. He actually has an Overlord in perfect position outside of the base, so...
Second gas as well, so this really, really looks like an all-in. Also, it's very inviting for ForGG to just not take a gas at all. And HyuN knows exactly what's going on. He probably knows this is GCC, so
yeah.
I would not be surprised to see, once again, a Roach bailing attack this game.
Oh, if he does this... If this doesn't work, Rhett, he's gone. He's gone. Let's see if he's going to do it now. The Roach Warren not too far away from completing 3 Overlords, about to open his supply up. He's still adding on drones. He's still adding on quite a few drones
here.
He's
on 5 drones. That's a bit curious.
So the Overlords are finished. The Roach Warren's done. There's 4. Maybe he's just going to build a few and then go back to droning and maybe show... you know, the illusion that he could be going for quite heavy aggression. But ForGG has opened up for the 3 command centers. It has been spotted through the lack of second gas that HyuN has seen. 8 roaches. There's the Bailey Nest.
Yep.
All right, here we go. This is it. This is HyuN's game. He needs to make this work. We saw what happened in the last game when it didn't. He knows there's no Banshees this time. He's going to get a couple of these units here, and the roaches have been spotted really early on. That is a decent trade there from ForGG, losing 1 Helm for all those lings.
And it's up to ForGG now to recognize what's happening.
8
There's
drones!
the bunker.
But 8 drones, the Bailey Nest 10 drones.
2 more bunkers, so this is Yeah.
I mean, 4GG's
3 more
fallen for
bunkers.
this, but it's not happening.
This is actually okay for HyuN. 4GG is spending a lot of money on bunkers right now, and HyuN is actually in a decent position. He's up by 11 drones, so this was smart, but it would have been better if he had done this in game 1 and then all-in this game, because this was like the perfect build for him to all-in.
And I'm already starting to get the feeling that 4GG's not falling for this. he's already salvaged his bunk. He's got the Hellions back on the other side saying, all right, well, where's the rest of the units? And he's now going to come over to this third most likely and say, oh, okay, well, okay, this is not happening, and we'll continue on this game plan. Do you really think that put 4GG, I mean, HyuN's got a decent supply lead, but did that really hurt 4GG that much by adding on a couple bunkers and then salvaging them? Like, he didn't adjust his build at all. But, I mean, this is helping a lot, being able to get into that, actually. Into that drone line. He managed to get 8 workers. But was that successful there from HyuN overall?
I think his engineering base were delayed a little bit, and I feel like overall it's a decent position for HyuN.
If he hadn't lost those 8 drones, would have been...
That kind of evened it out. I feel like right now it's pretty even. Like, it's like nothing happened at all.
Okie doke. Well, 1-1 upgrades coming in for both players here, as HyuN still droning towards that third base. It's a little bit supply blocked again here, Rhett. That's not the first time I think we've seen that. It's slowing him down a little bit.
The starport on the reactor, so the first 2 medevacs on the way, and once 4GG gets these medevacs, it's going to be non-stop drop action from him. He's actually also supply blocked a little bit, hurting him a lot, actually.
Yeah, it's
making 6 depots at once right now.
Yeah, a couple of mistakes from these 2 players. But, I mean, they're both making very similar mistakes, which kind of equalizes the game. But here is the third base that 4GG is looking to take. It is going to be the gold. There are overlords in position. The layer's not too far away, but he's actually going to bring his lings over to keep that command center from landing so he can try to get the creep there. But as 4GG does deflect that quite easily by bringing over a handful of Marines. 26 Zerglings, Baneling and Roach Speed, and there is that style that we see so often.
And the Spire as well, though.
And the Spire too. Okay, so the Spire does come in, but...
looks like HyuN definitely knows how to play around with his image.
Yeah.
Faking the Roach Bane attack, now getting Roach Speed and Roach Baneling Speed, which gonna make it look like he's Roach Baning all-inning, but also looks like he probably wants to go into Mutas. His creep spread is pretty good, and I feel like HyuN set himself up pretty well. And here comes the first 2 medevacs, the scary 4GG medevacs.
Yeah, good 4 overlords at the north there. If you look at the minimap, you see those 4 dots going to stop and alert HyuN of all these medivacs that are going to come to the top, and he is already in position for this. And 4GG is just him in. Without the Spire finish, he can easily just pick up and get out here. Loses 1 Marine, and then boosts away. Nice little bit of pressure there, put onto HyuN. Both upgrades from both players kicking in pretty much at the same time here.
Yeah, but because of 4GG's supply block, and actually he didn't make his second medevacs very fast, I feel like HyuN's gonna have Mutas in time to not take too much damage from all these drops, which I feel like this really puts him in a position that he wants to be in. Normally it's very hard when you play 4GG. You always take a little bit of damage from his drops, but it doesn't look like HyuN will, and that sets him up nicely for the mid game.
Is he gonna build Mutalisks?
He should. Yeah. He's getting the upgrade for them, so I'm sure he will.
Okay.
He also needs to take the gases on his fourth base. But,
I mean, because he's got a lot of gas banked up here. I'm just waiting to see what he really wants to spend that on. And there they are. Okay, so 6 Mutalisks coming in. And there's the double drops, as you said. So 2 at the top, 2 at the south.
Yeah.
And now we're going to have to see if HyuN's multitasking is up to speed. Right now he is playing, as you can see on screen, 600 APM there peaking at. As 4GG now starting to ramp it up. Double medivacs down here, 2 Widow Mines with this. Is HyuN going to be able to deal with this, Red?
HyuN's got all his units in positions. He's also got a Spore Crawler and Link Bane in his main base, so he's in a pretty good position to not take damage, but this high ground is still rather annoying. Drop in the main will get cleaned up easily, though.
But this one down here is keeping him away from mining from this base. So 4GG's added on extra production. I'm sure that 4th command center won't be too far behind this either. And he is trading off against a couple of these links. Mutalisks do come in to help out, and it looks like this will get picked off here. And so far, HyuN equal to the double drops of 4GG. Very equal game if you look at the resources lost there to the top left of your screen.
This is the best I've seen a Zerg deal with the 4GG drops in like a month's time. So I think HyuN's looking great. He's up in supply. 4GG did make a lot of bunkers as well because he saw the Roach speed. So it's like, are you Roach Baneling all-inning me? Now there's Muta stopping the drops. The creep spread is getting out of control. And from this point on, HyuN's going to start to want to do some damage.
Oh, a couple of Widow Mines get picked off there. It does trade off units for it, but once again, it is trade, and they are quite even every time. And HyuN does back off. 186 supply here for HyuN, trailing in this best of 3 to 162 supply for GG. And it's just going to come down to these engagements. Mueller's starting to get a little bit... Oh, look at this. There's actually no turrets on this gold base.
Yeah,
There's actually no
nice.
protection here at all.
Sweet spot there, taking out a lot of SCVs, and I think HyuN knows he's in a good position. Once he's maxed out, he's probably going for a massive attack, and it's going to be really difficult for ForGG to hold.
I think that small attack there is the big difference between both of these players for almost all of the game, as that was an unprotected mineral line, and ForGG gets punished for it. The difference in economy in favor of HyuN here, who is established quite nicely on 4 bases. ForGG with an army down here looking to do something, but the Mutila's still a threat at the north. Gonna come in again, and ForGG clear and creep through the middle. And the gas taken out there.
Also, plenty of Lings and Bailings at the bottom right side. Does take out an Extractor. Like, ForGG is trying to make it happen, attacking everywhere, keeping HyuN busy, and this way is delaying his...
Ooh, a massive drop to the main reds. 4 medivacs full.
This is a scary ForGG style where it's on both sides of the map, and it's really hard to keep up. But there are Lings and Bailings in the main, so...
He's gonna... Well, how well does he spread them? They're quite clumped up right now, and that's a big chunk.
That's a nice position there between the hatches.
Yeah, and 4GG has got that drop down south. It looks like it has been cleaned up. And
Yeah.
yes, there's 2 Widow Mines left over, but he's dealing a lot of damage inside this main base. And now 4GG's turn to deal the damage to his opponent, and this has been quite successful.
Yeah, ForGG doing a great job, because I'm pretty sure HyuN wanted to attack, but ForGG is just dropping everywhere, and it's like, no, you can't attack me, I'm attacking you, so defend this first. At the same time, he's starting his 3-3 upgrades, and he's getting a lot more units, so I think this is actually a great move by ForGG.
And HyuN's turn now. This is really back and forth. He gets to the command center, forcing the lift off, can readjust his Zergling, and also has the creep stroke there, so it's going to be a long time till 4GG gets that up and running, but he's on the 4th base of HyuN now, and then the Mule's up here on the north on the gold base. Really, really cutthroat plays by both players. And HyuN is going to come in to try to defend it. Oh, 4 or 5 Bailings on that one Marauder there. That's not the best of trades. And
this is turning into a really, really scrappy game. They're just attacking each other everywhere, and right now it just comes down to the multitask. There is one Swarm Host in this game, but do not worry, it's not going to be one of those games.
just that one
Just that
defensive
one.
Swarm Host, man. And more units coming down here by 4GG. He's got his 4th base up, and it's starting to swing quite heavily in favor of 4GG now. This harass has been fantastic, and there's a lot more units here, and Lings.
Wow.
Oh dear, they are gone very, very fast. There's still Widow Mines here. A couple of big hits onto the Mutilus, and 190 supply to 130. HyuN is dying at this point, Red.
4GG did not care about how he was going into the mid game. He was just like, I'm going to start dropping on both sides of the map, and this is what works for me. And you
look
can't
at
keep
this
up.
again.
Yeah, another 3 medevacs going into the main, and this is just so ferocious by 4GG. It's just gonna...
And then there's even another army marching across the map, which is going to get towards that 4th base. 4GG just stepping it up a level here, coming into this next map, this next series of the day for him. And he guts the drone line once again. And with the units down south, he's going to get towards that expansion as well and gut that one too. And this has been some pretty impressive play from 4GG, living up to your expectations here against HyuN, I would believe.
Really showing his typical dominant TVC style, where he does start dropping, and from that point on, the Zerg is just running behind 4GG, and 4GG is just keeps attacking. He's losing drops, but it doesn't matter, because as soon as one is cleaned up, there's another one on the way, and there's another army on the way to the south, and he just keeps going, and in the end, HyuN just could not keep up.
And this looks like this is the end of HyuN's tournament, and this is a sad end for him, I'm sure. He's morphing in 9 Bailings, he's trying to counterattack with the Mutilus once again, and he does get a bit of damage dealt. But these are going to be 3-3 Marines in a couple of moments' time. As you see, the upgrades are about to kick in. And HyuN, his economy's down. 4GG's on 4 bases, he's still just waypoint units, double the income right now. And 4GG keeps his tournament life alive. A good trade-off there for HyuN, but at what cost? But at what cost,
Not
Rex?
cost efficient, Sean.
Not cost efficient at all. And this means that 4GG will get the rematch versus Liquid Hero. We'll get to demonstrate probably what he wanted to show earlier on as he marches forward here with a 5th base on the way. Marines firing through, probably got French flags in each one of their hands. He's been living in France for so long. And, well, this is the end of HyuN. He comes in with the Bailings and Roaches. GG is called, and 4GG takes out Roccat HyuN in his first tournament of 2014. And 4GG, his second tournament, not dead yet.
Quite awesome play by him. His first medevacs were a little bit late, but it did not stop him from still playing the same thing that he has been playing on this map. Dropping like crazy all over HyuN. And, HyuN was set up pretty well. He did leave small groups of units at each base, but ForGG just kept doing it over and over again.
Yeah.
And HyuN just was not able to deal with it. And it's very hard to deal with. ForGG has been on fire lately with the drops. Like, that's something very specific about him. I think he's probably one of the best medevac usage players for Terran right now.
And he moves on to that rematch versus Liquid Hero. And sadly, Rhett, another Zerg bites the dust here in this tournament, which leaves only one Zerg player left in Group C, which will be played out tomorrow. That is, of course, Jaedong is the only Zerg left in this tournament. And we will now have a fight between a Terran and a Protoss to find out who will be in second place, as HyuN packs up his stuff right now and will be making his way off that front stage. But to summarize that series, what are your final thoughts on that then?
Well, I predicted ForGG to advance, and I felt like ForGG lived up to his name and played very strong. It's just continuing the trend he showed in Finland, just dominating HyuN, who's one of the top Zerg players in the world. And I think ForGG is really, really scary against Zerg. I asked him actually before the tournament. I saw him play a game against TLO, and I asked him, "Do you ever lose against Zerg right now? Because you're so good."
Yeah.
And he told me almost never. And
Wow.
I think he showed it. He showed it in those games. He's so strong right now.
I know you're a member of Team Liquid, but do you reckon that ForGG has it in him right now to take the rematch against Liquid Hero, or is Hero?
I think it's going to be a very, very tough match for ForGG. I mean, Hero is also very strong. So I think he has it in him to do it, but if he will, that's another question. We will find out.
All right, we will find out. So, well, that's us done here at the casting desk, and I'm going to hand it over to Redeye, who is standing by with ForGG.
Thank you very much. Yes, with ForGG, great to have you back in Europe again. Obviously, we had you in WCS last year, so it's great to see you back here for Intel Extreme Masters. Congratulations, firstly, on the win against HyuN. Let's go and talk about map 1 firstly. The Banshee harass early on and then going mech, and he was very late with Swarm Host. Did everything work out exactly how you had planned to play him for game 1?
이제 첫 번째 게임에서 벤치로 이제 좀 견제를 하다가 메카닉으로 이렇게 옮겨가지고 이기셨는데 원래 계획했던 대로 모든 게 이렇게 풀어 나가졌는지 아니면 어떻게 됐었는지 설명해 주세요.
첫 번째 판에 이렇게 벤시 헬리온을 하려고 했는데 석현이 형이 마침 올인을 하셔가지고 좀 유리하게 시작해서 그 다음부터는 좀 수월하게 이겼던 것 같아요.
Yeah, I planned to play Banshee Hellion on that map, and actually when I saw HyuN playing very aggressive and trying to kind of all-inning me, I was actually happy that he kind of chose those builds against me on that map. So it quite kind of was easy with my Banshee Hellion build against that.
Okay, and then in map 2, what was your thinking going into map 2? Were you expecting the same again, or did you feel like he would try and mix play up?
두 번째 맵에서는 뭐를 계획하고 했었는지 그리고 뭐 어떻게 좀 설명을 해주세요.
두 번째 판에서는 그냥 제가 좀 정석적인 그냥 테란 대 저그전 정석적인 빌드 그냥 사신 더블 이후 그냥 무난한 운영을 준비했고요. 그냥 평소에 저그전에 좀 자신이 있는 편이기 때문에 그냥 무난한 빌드를 출발했어요.
I didn't plan any special build for the second map because I really feel comfortable in TVZ, and so I just thought when I go Reaper expand and go into the late game, I should probably win. So it worked well out. Yeah.
Okay, with the results that you had recently at Asus ROG as well, and then coming here, it seems you've always been renowned for your TVT, but your TVZ and your TVP seems to have improved so much. What has been the difference between last year and the start of this year for you?
작년에는 이제 초반에는 TBT를 엄청 잘하신 걸로 유명했었는데 점점 다른 종족전도 엄청 잘한 모습을 보여주고 있는데 작년이랑 이번에랑 다른 점이 있다면 뭐가 있나요?
그냥 뭐 저그전 같은 경우는 좀 이렇게 멀티태스킹을 작년보다 잘해서 좀 성적이 나는 것 같고 태태전 같은 경우도 지금 작년보다 제 생각에는 훨씬 지금 기량이 상승했다고 보는데 만날 기회가 없어서 보여주지 못해서 좀 아쉬워요.
Well, I think compared to last year, my multitasking got a lot better. So that's why I'm better in TVZ. And actually TVP, I'm quite good in practice games, but I couldn't really show it in the real games on any tournament. So I hope to get another Protoss now, and so that can I show my skills there too.
Okay, well, your next game is against Hero again, and we saw you at the end of the game that you played him earlier when you lost 2-0. You seem very mad. You seem very upset about the fact that you'd lost the way you'd lost. So what is going to be different for you second time round?
첫 번째 게임에서 이제 TP를 송현덕 선수랑 했는데 좀 많이 아쉽게 패배한 모습을 보고 좀 많이 아쉬워하는 표정을 봤는데 다시 만나면 이제 뭐가 다를 건지 한번 말씀해 주세요.
일단 첫 번째 송현덕 선수랑 할 때 솔직히 첫 판 그냥 거의 아무것도 못 하고 져가지고 이번에는 좀 신중하게 할 생각입니다.
Well, yeah, I couldn't do really anything in those games. It was so quick, and I couldn't show any of my skill in those games. So I hope to get to play better in the next games and revenge.
Revenge is a dish served best by ForGG, perhaps. We'll find out in the next game as he goes to head with Hero. Thank you very much, ForGG. Congratulations. He stays in the tournament right now. And now we're going to go to Claris, who's got some breakdown of match number 4.
Paul with the best jokes of all time. Thank you very much once again as we now go to the analysis desk here for some interesting little looks at exactly what happened in game number 1. Now, it was very, very evident and obvious going into the start of this game that HyuN's play style against PVs in TVZ is very focus-centric on getting some information and trying to see what's going on, because he actually utilizes the extra 100 gas, leaves the drones on there for the pneumatized carapace, and then sends those overlords in there eventually to try and have a look around. Now, after using that so early on, he did manage to spot the second gas, and from there, as a Zerg player, you're normally admitting to, adopting some kind of Banshees, eventually going over the other side. But, so, we see HyuN obviously going for a bit of aggression from here on out. Now, we already heard there from ForGG that it was a little bit easy for him to deal with this, especially with the Banshee and the HyuN incorporation into that. But then from this point on, for HyuN, after all of this was held off and the Banelings trying to do something, we still saw ForGG with a lead in workers, which was, pretty darn nice for him, even though these Banelings didn't really get the connections that they want. That one Baneling actually could have made a big, big difference, but as all of those SCVs very, very low. But in the end, it didn't do a huge amount. And ForGG transitions on. But from there on, having pneumatized carapace with these overlords and not diving in for a second look after the game goes further on with the double armory and the upgrades, it really felt from here that HyuN didn't have full intel as to what was going on, and that really did come back to bite him. Obviously, he was going for the Mutalist transition. There was harass after harass, and yes, he deals with the Banshees eventually, but ultimately the follow-up that comes along after even the Banshees saw the Spire as well, HyuN just kind of fell apart. It was going to be very, very hard for him to really deal with this Thor follow-up that was coming along for him, and ForGG lives up to his name here in our first game. So that's pretty much going to do it here for our look at game number 1, as ForGG does advance on to play against his Protoss opponent in Hero. Will he be able to defeat him? Me and Sean kind of thought so, but we shall find out in just a little bit. So that's going to do it for us here. I'll see you in just a bit, and let's send it over to Paul.
Thank you very much, James, with the old jokes, sending it all over the place. I'll work on that. Maybe we can learn some more adjectives. Yeah, see, it's 1-1 now. Old jokes, old dad jokes. I don't care. I don't mind. Welcome to Awkward Corner once more. We have some more Valentine's Day cards for you. And Kalaris is going to particularly enjoy this because there is a very famous artist out there for StarCraft. You may already know Nicholas before, but he's done something very special for Valentine's Day. I don't know if we can throw this one up on the screen. Can we do that, production? There we go. Look at that. Isn't that lovely? That's beautiful. That's really lovely. Yeah, he's not particularly happy about that. There. Good job, production. We caught him. And I don't think he noticed either. So, we also have a couple of others. I'm not sure about this one. David Kim I would count as a friend. He may hate me after this one, but let's throw this one up anyway. Not that one. That's someone else's screen. I don't know whose screen that is, but it's not mine. There it is. Well done. Yeah. So that's from Moro. You can read that one, I think. That's David Kim and Todd sitting in a tree, thinking how to make Protoss a little more OP. No laughs from the crowd either. We also have one more, which I particularly like. It's probably the best one so far. I like this is a proper Valentine's Day card. So let's show you this one from Stacy, which is Happy Valentine's Day. You got proxied. Like that one a lot. Crowd like that one here as well. So keep them coming, ladies and gents. We really appreciate your Valentine's Day cards here on Valentine's as you share the experience of StarCraft 2 with us via the Intel Extreme Masters Cologne. We will be back with our last game of Group A very shortly. Don't go too far away.